On Saturday, October 14, a unique celestial event will occur as the moon aligns perfectly between the Earth and the Sun, casting its shadow across our planet's surface. Certain regions, primarily in the western United States, Mexico, and Central and South America, will be fortunate enough to witness an awe-inspiring phenomenon known as an annular solar eclipse, also referred to as a ring of fire. Of particular significance, the path of this weekend's eclipse intersects with the Navajo Nation and other indigenous lands in the Four Corners region, where these celestial occurrences hold deep cultural meaning. In accordance with their traditions, the Navajo people, known as the Dene, generally avoid going outdoors, observing the eclipse, or allowing the eclipse's light to touch them. As a sign of respect for these cultural practices, several tribal lands, including all Navajo tribal parks and the iconic Monument Valley, will be closed to visitors on Saturday. Please note that below, we have provided a photo from a previous annular eclipse for our Dene readers. The annular solar eclipse will begin in the morning on the west coast and gradually make its way eastward. Oregon will be the first state to witness the event, with the eclipse starting at around 5:30 a.m. Pacific time. It will then move across Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas before ending near the Gulf of Mexico. The path of annularity, where the rain of fire effect will be visible, will stretch from Northern California to the Texas coast. This region will experience a unique phenomenon where the moon covers most of the sun, leaving only a bright ring around its edges. People who are outside of this path will still be able to see a partial eclipse, where the moon covers a portion of the sun. It's important to remember to use proper eye protection when viewing the eclipse to avoid damaging your eyes. Special eclipse glasses or handheld solar viewers are recommended. Eclipses have long fascinated people throughout history, and this weekend's event presents an opportunity for millions of people to come together and marvel at the wonders of the universe. It serves as a reminder of our place in the vast cosmos and the interconnectedness of all living things on Earth. Scientists stress the importance of using appropriate protective equipment to avoid eye damage when viewing the annular eclipse. Clear skies were expected in some parts of the United States, such as parts of California and Texas, allowing for viewing opportunities. However, for much of the country, near total cloud cover will hinder views of the eclipse. Despite this, various events are planned along the eclipse's path, including a Science and Art Festival in Roswell, New Mexico, a live stream by the Exploratorium in San Francisco, and a 3-day party in Marysville, Utah. San Antonio, Texas, will witness the annular eclipse as well as a total eclipse next year. Excitement among scientists and locals has been building for months, and locations in Central and South Texas have been preparing for the phenomenon. After Texas, the eclipse will move over the Gulf of Mexico and head to Central and South America. The Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico will celebrate its Maya heritage as the eclipse passes through indigenous land. Solar eclipses have been observed for thousands of years, but there is still much to learn about them scientifically. Various research projects will be conducted during the eclipse, including studying its effects on the ionosphere and measuring radio emissions from solar hotspots. Even though it is not necessary to be a scientist to appreciate the significance of a solar eclipse, observing the changes in the environment during the event can be quite magical. Scientists recommend documenting the experience to create lasting memories. If you're going to observe the eclipse, be careful. On a normal day, staring straight into the sun can harm your eyes. An eclipsed sun is no different. NASA warns, it is never safe to look directly at the sun's rays. The intense light from the sun can damage your retina and cause a permanent scotoma or blind spot in the central vision, according to The Lancet. The intensity of light radiating from a partial or annular eclipse can still cause retinal damage. Even when 99% of the sun's surface, the photosphere, is obscured during the partial phases of a solar eclipse, the remaining crescent sun is still intense enough to cause a retinal burn, even though illumination levels are comparable to twilight, NASA explains. The safest way to observe an eclipse is indirectly, either by projecting it onto a screen through a pinhole or by looking through a specially designed filter. Why do we have solar eclipses? The moon and sun have to be aligned. Even if the moon is in its new moon phase and is crossing the plane of Earth's orbit, a solar eclipse will only occur if the moon and the sun are aligned in the sky. This alignment happens when the Earth, moon, and sun are perfectly lined up in a straight line, with the moon positioned between the Earth and the Sun. When this alignment happens, the moon casts a shadow on the Earth, blocking out the sunlight and causing the solar eclipse. The size and shape of the shadow can vary depending on the distance of the moon from Earth and the relative sizes of the moon and the sun. Solar eclipses are relatively rare events because they require the perfect alignment of these cosmic conditions. They only occur in specific regions of the Earth, and the same location may not experience a solar eclipse for several years or even decades. There has to be a new moon. One side of the moon is always lit by the sun, but the lit side isn't always facing the Earth. This is how we get the phases of the moon. For a solar eclipse to occur, it needs to be in its new moon phase. During the new moon, the dark side of the moon is directly facing the Earth.